All right, by almost all accounts, builders are happy, banks are happy, mortgage lenders are happy because, well, business is booming, we are told. But for how long? Housing experts Jason Meister, Rick Sharga, on this home builder confidence. I guess the reason why we make a big deal of, home builders feeling confident is they're the guys on the front lines, and if they weren't confident, we'd be worried. Rick, are you still worried or what?
No, I think the housing market's in recovery and is stabilized. We've come out of the biggest and most volatile boom and bust cycle in history. It's been a slow, sawtooth, ragged economy or recovery in the housing market, and there's still a lot of headroom. We have a lot of room for growth ahead of us, so I'm not as worried.
All right. When you hear and watch this, Jason, I know you've been worried about pockets, though, that you've generally said there are some regions that are coming along and coming back, many others that are not. Sure. Handicap it for us.
Yeah, Neil, the major cities, we've seen a tremendous amount of activity, but also prices have gone through the roof. We've reached nosebleed levels. And Rick just said it. He said we're still talking about a housing recovery. It's been 8 years, and we're still talking about a housing recovery. When are we going to start talking about that it's been recovered? We haven't, because we have not seen the growth.
Well, what's happening? What's wrong?
Housing starts were up today, Neil. They were up big, but they were up in the multifamily rental sector, because rentals is what these millennials are doing. They're not buying homes. The single-family housing starts were at pretty much totally flat. So I don't see this recovery taking off. We have a labor participation rate in this country that is flatlining. We have wage growth that's been stagnant, and people pay for homes with their jobs. It's really that simple.
That's a very good point. I've heard it before, Rick. What do you make of that? Now we're off the very big lows we had right after the meltdown, but we would still seem to have a ways to go. What do you say?
So we do have a ways to go, and the reason Jason's right in that we're not talking about a full recovery because we're not there yet. I'd quibble with a couple of the points that he just made. I think affordability is an issue, but only in a handful of markets. Nationally, median home prices compared to median income really only accounts for about 25% of somebody's gross income, which is low, relatively speaking, historically. The big issue is that the first-time home buyers haven't had the inventory available to buy, and they haven't been coming to the market in big numbers. The millennials will fix that. They're just getting to the market later. And one of the reasons, as he mentioned, is that the jobs recovery has been very weak. So absent their first really good paying job, those potential first-time home buyers are still on the sidelines.
And we should point out that builders have been wrong before. They get a little confident and then they regret it, right, Jason?
They're not off by that much, though, Neil. They're holding back on their building.
But Rick, last quarter, we saw repossessions, which is the final stage of the foreclosure process. We saw them spike 66.6%. How do you explain that?
I explain that because it's a handful of states. It's a really good point. But these are all very old, very delinquent loans that should have been foreclosed on 3-4 years ago.
Bottom line, we don't know.
There's nothing new coming into the pipeline.
All right. Hopefully things do pick up. But, gentlemen, I want to thank you both. In the meantime,
thanks for having us.